Speaker number 3 is Arne Bostrom. Finding a home in New York City. Help! Finding a home in New York City. Help! Arne Bostrom.
The sound of the captain announcing our initial descent into JFK snapped my wandering mind back to reality. I looked out the plane window, and in the distance I could see the majestic skyscrapers of Manhattan with Lady Liberty in the foreground and Central Park in the back. I began to reflect on the past 3 months of my life. See, I was just finishing up grad school when my girlfriend came to me and said, "We should go to New York City." Crazy enough, I agreed. And before I knew it, I had a job in Midtown Manhattan. My girlfriend did not. Thus, we came up with a plan. I would go out there first and find a job and find us an apartment. Well, back in Oregon, she would look for a job. After we came up with this plan, I scoured the internet and reached out to friends and family for help in finding a short-term rental. My sister stepped up, and she found a 1-month sublet from the girlfriend of a guy she dated back in high school, 15 years ago. So there I was, about to land in the big city I was now going to call my home. A new job, a few suitcases, only 1 month to find an apartment. Easy, right? Wrong. Because I quickly learned that finding a decent apartment, even for under $3,000 a month, was nearly impossible. Just to apply, I had to provide, among other things, 3 letters of recommendations, bank statements, tax returns, proof of employment, proof that I made 40 times the rent, which I didn't, so I needed a guarantor that made 90 times the rent to back me. And then there were all the brokers. I dealt with over 15. Now, some were nice and helpful, while others were cold and callous. One broker, after we backed out of an apartment, berated us for wasting everybody's time, tried to blame it all on my girlfriend, and even suggested that I'd be better off without her. So yeah, fast forward a month, no apartment. And now I needed to move. And at this point in my life, my quality of living started to decline. Because see, I moved 9 more times in 2 months. I moved so much that I had to stash my bags in a storage closet at work. And I stayed at some real sketchy places. I stayed at a place where I had a cockroach crawling on my leg while I was in bed. I was so desperate that I spent 2 nights at an 11-bed dorm room at a hostel in Harlem. And that was terrible, because that second night, I was awoken twice by the hostel bouncer. The first time for when he was screaming at somebody who was in the wrong bed, and the second time was at 3 a.m. when the fire alarm went off, and he comes bursting through the door. Bow! Everybody get the flip out! Except he didn't use flip. And for the next hour, I spent out in the freezing cold, waiting for the fire department because somebody burnt their toast. Now, I told all this to my coworker, and to my surprise, she graciously offered to help and to let me stay with her and her boyfriend in a studio apartment in Harlem. Now, 2 people in a studio apartment is cramped. 3 people is just ridiculous. So I was amazed that she even offered to help. But that act of kindness was not in isolation, because later another coworker of mine offered her couch. My brother heard about what I was going through, came out for the week just so I could stay at his hotel room with him. Random New Yorkers that I would meet at bars or coffee shops who had gone through the same situation that I went through were offering me advice and putting me in touch with other people who were looking to sublet. I even went back to that same studio apartment in Harlem, only this time because I was invited by my coworker's now ex-boyfriend. We're gonna say we hit it off. Now, I was so thankful for all the help that I got from everybody during my time of need. Still, 2 months later, and I did not have an apartment. My girlfriend still didn't have a job. And as the weeks wore on, I began to feel discouraged and alone. And I even felt some resentment towards her because I didn't feel like she was trying enough. I felt like she was having more fun back in Oregon without me. And all this boiled over one weekend when I came back to Oregon to visit her. We went to a concert with our friends, and everything blew up. We got into a big fight, said things that we didn't mean, and then I drank too much. And at the concert, I passed out, missed the entire thing. I embarrassed myself, but not only that, I hurt the woman that I love. The next day, as we were sitting in the car at the cell phone waiting lot at the airport, watching the sun set before my red eye back to New York, I broke down and I told her how hopeless I felt, how much I missed her, and how much I just really wanted a place, for a home to myself. And I'll never forget that, because less than a month later, she not only found a great job, but she also found us an amazing apartment that was subsidized through her job, which means no flipping brokers were involved. And she, just like everybody else before her, came through when I needed it the most. And she found us a home. Now, I talk a lot about help in this speech. And it's help that is needed now more than ever in many ways all over the world as we face together this global pandemic and severe economic recession. There are many people who are afraid to go outside of their homes to get essential items. Healthcare workers are risking their lives to treat those infected, and millions more are out of a job and looking for work and are desperate. And if there's anything I learned in my 3 months of trying to find a home in New York City, it's that help, whether from friends, family, coworkers, even strangers, all the help that you can get at the time when you need it the most, it makes all the world of difference. So if you're in need of help, do not feel ashamed to ask for it. And if you are in a position to give help, please do not turn your back on those that need it the most. We will get through this, but it's only if we work together and help each other. At a safe distance, of course. Madam Speaker, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmaster, fellow speakers, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for helping me tell this story.